Hi guys, and welcome to a new video. I thought it was about time that I show you all of the books that I bought on holiday. I think I bought all of these in England because I went on holiday to London and then was home for a week, and then I went to Germany for a week, but I have a few German books. Never read them because they're still a bit too hard for me. But yeah, I bought loads and loads of books in England. Like so much I can't even really sit properly because they're here by my feet and I have to sit really awkward, and the camera is at a different angle than usual because they're in the way. Too many of them. But I'm gonna show you all of them now. Okay, so first off is this huge one. This is the complete set of Lemony Snicket's a series of unfortunate events, and it's so heavy. It has all 13 books, and the box itself has like really cool illustrations on it, which is pretty nice. There we go. And yeah, I loved this series as a kid, but I don't think I ever read all of them because I had, I think, the first 3 in Dutch and then like the 2 after that in English, and then never bought them anymore. But I do want to read all of them. So I bought these at what's it called again, TK Maxx, and it was only £17 for this entire set. So that's like the price of what, 2-3 books for 13 books. So that was really nice. It used to cost about £78. But yeah, TK Maxx is awesome, especially, or at least in England, because that's the only place I've ever been to one. It's awesome to buy box sets because they're really cheap there. And yeah, you have to be lucky and stumble upon something, but it's worth a shot to go there and actually try it out. See if you can find something. Also at TK Maxx, another box set. This is a box set of Michael Morpurgo. I'm not pronouncing that right. I had never read anything by him. I knew the movie Warhorse and I knew that he wrote the book. But recently on Amazon, I think, when I was looking for books, one of his books, someone said like, oh, all his books are so amazing, and it all says the master storyteller on it. So I have been wanting to try out like 1 or 2 of his books, and this was a set of 7 for the price of 1, I think. I don't have the price tag anymore, but yeah, I read King of the Cloud Forest and was a really interesting book, and I do want to read the rest of them. The books are Why the Whales Came, Escape from Shangri-La, King of the Cloud Forest, which is the one I read, Mr. Nobody's Eyes, Long Way Home, Kensuke's Kingdom, and Warhorse. So gonna read those. And also at TK Maxx, I think this is probably the last set. Ellie Carter's spy set, The Gallagher Girls. So the first one is called I Tell You I Love You, But Then I'd Have to Kill You. And I've read this one, I think in the car journey home when I was stuck in traffic for 30 hours. That was fun, Dover traffic. 18 hours of traffic jam. Insane. Anyway, if you want to see a video about that, by the way, I'll link it down below because my mom made a video about it. It was horrible. Yeah, I read this one, really liked it. It's about this like this prestigious school for girls, but it's actually a spy school, and that's really interesting. And I already had the first one in a different box set. It was like a box set of a few, like the first or second book of a few series, and if you bought all those box sets, then you would have like the first, the second, and the third of multiple series. But I only had the first one, and now I have all of them, and this was only £10, so that's like 1.5 book, and now you have the entire set. And I also bought The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson, and this is from the Zoella book club, and I don't know if you can see it, which is basically if you don't know, Zoella is a YouTuber, and she works together with, I don't know with whom, but she has a book club. There we go. She has a book club, and I think W.H. Smith, I'm not sure, of some of her favorite books that she read in 2016, and I've read all of them. Agree with the choices because they're great. I read them beforehand. This was the only one that I haven't read yet. I have read something else, like I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson, and that was brilliant, so I really want this copy as well. And yeah, see if this book is as good as I'll Give You the Sun. Then the second part, After You by Jojo Moyes from Me Before You. You probably heard of it. A lot of booktubers have talked about it. There's a movie. Haven't seen the movie yet, but I have read the book and I love the book. So yeah, when I saw part 2 in the supermarket, of course I had to buy it. Then we have 3 beautiful copies that I bought at Waterstones, and this was around the part in our holiday, like at the end of our holiday, when we had no more space left in our car to buy things. And then I saw this. Huge. And I still bought it and bought more books and more stuff. We're horrible that way. But somehow we managed to get everything home. It was a miracle. But this is Little Women by Louise May Alcott, and I have never read this. And I know, like, especially probably Americans, everyone has probably read this for school or something. We never had to. Don't even really know what it's about, just that a lot of people love it. It's a favorite book of a lot of people, and I just couldn't resist this copy. It's so beautiful. So naturally I had to buy it. It's really thick though, and it really doesn't have to be, because the pages are quite... I think it's because it's quite a small book, like compared to normal sized books. It's a bit smaller, but yeah, I'm really excited to read this and just to have it somewhere in my bookcase because it's beautiful. Another beautiful cover, The Wizard of Oz. This actually took me a while to decide because they had like 3 beautiful covers, but I ended up buying this one, even though it's a little bit damaged, but it's beautiful. This one was £13, and yeah, it's The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. You have the little witches on it, the what do you call it? Typhoon or something? Whirlwind? What do you call that? Twister? The twister and the little shoes, and I just thought it was beautiful. I think it's also illustrated. Yeah, it's also illustrated, and I just loved it. And I have never read this book. I've seen like multiple versions of like movies. I even went to play once, I think, when I was little. Never read the book before, so I'm gonna read it now. Another brilliant, beautiful copy. It's in the same series as this one, and this is The Secret Garden. I already have 2 copies of this, I think, and I've read it, but I want to reread it again. But I couldn't say no. Look how beautiful it is. I just loved the colors, and it's so simple. It's just a key and then some flowers and some bees and birds, and it's so cute. And this was also £13, and I think, is this one also illustrated? Yes, it's also illustrated. Yeah, picture. I like it when these classics books, if they had illustrations, like in the original versions and stuff, I really like to have one that also has those illustrations. Ned's Circus of Marvels by Justin Fisher. This is one of the first books that I bought on my trip to England. I bought it the first day that my brother and I were in London, and we went to the supermarket. And I bought like 1 or 2 books because I couldn't resist. So I'm just quickly gonna read you the back, because when I read, I have no idea what it's about. But when I read the back cover, I was immediately hooked. It's about Ned, obviously. On Ned's 13th birthday, he discovers that everything magical he's ever read about or imagined is real. And without him, the world will soon be engulfed in monstrous beasts and beings. So with the help of a robot mouse, a girl witch, and a flying circus unlike any other, because you have more flying circuses, it's up to Ned to swoop in and save the day. And I just thought that sounded awesome. I think it's gonna be a great adventure story with lots of magic in it. And yeah, just the cover is so beautiful. So beautiful. So naturally I had to have it. Then I have The Beast Within by, does it say? Serena Valentino. I already have the one about Snow White, or the Evil Queen actually. And this one is probably like Beauty and the Beast, but then from the princess perspective, and probably before the story, I think. How did a prince once beloved by his people become a bitter and reclusive monster? I really like this series, that they actually kind of look at the bad people, and also, you know, no one is evil even in these series. And I love the Snow White one because you kind of felt really sorry for the evil queen, kind of like in Once Upon a Time. And yeah, awesome. I can't wait to read this one. Then I also bought a Geek Girl special by Holly Smale, Sunny Side Up. So this is like a special book in between, even though it's like almost as thick as a normal book from her. Although, nah, maybe it's like, it's a little bit smaller. But yeah, I saw this and remembered that it was coming out when I saw it. It's like, oh yeah, I was waiting for that. So I bought it. These are adorable books and like really fun reads. If you want something light and fun and like hilarious, you should read these. I also bought Percy Jackson and the Greek Heroes, Half Boy, Half God, oh hero, by Rick Riordan. I've read the original Percy Jackson series. I started on Magnus Bane, but there's only one so far. No, not Magnus Bane, right? Wait, what's it called again? Magnus Bane is from Shadowlands, isn't it? Magnus and the Sword of Summer, that's the one. I started that one, or I read that one. It's really good. But this is like, I think like a second series. I'm not even sure if it's the first one in the series. But it was like a 2 for £7 deal in the supermarket, so I figured I want them anyway, so why not buy them now, right? Then we have another Disney book. I think I bought this one as HMV for like £2 or something. A Whole New World, A Twisted Tale. So this is also like a darker version of the fairy tales. Or like the other two, they focus on the villains. I think this one is just like an alternate version of the story, because it says, what if Aladdin had never found the lamp? So I think that's just what the entire book's about, like an alternate version of the story, and I'm really interested to see what it's like. Then we have another box set. It wasn't the last one. It's by Enid Blyton, The Mystery Series, Volume 1 and Volume 2, which are 6 books. Like the books used to be pretty small, like standalone. So it's 6 stories in 2 pockets, and I have recently started reading Enid Blyton books and I kind of really like them. Then we have The Last Star, which I've already borrowed from a friend and read, but I did want the series complete myself as well. I liked it. I like the way, like a good ending to the series. Book 1 of this series, The Fifth Wave, definitely the best one in the entire series. Kind of went a bit worse after that, but it was still good, and yeah, I'm really interested. So if you've read The Fifth Wave, or if you haven't read the series yet, I do recommend them. They're pretty good. It's by Rick Yancey. Then we have 2 books that I bought at the Star Wars convention. I bought Star Wars Bloodlines by Claudia Gray, and I have already read this because I borrowed my brother's copy, but then when I saw it like on the fair, not fair, the on the celebration, huh? When I saw it on the celebration, I was like, okay, I need to have it myself because it's such a cool book. I really stopped filming. Don't know where to stop, but I think I said that it's a really good book and that you have to read it. Of course, if you are interested in Star Wars, and you have to have seen at least like the original series, like the 3 original movies, thank you, the 3 original movies. If you've only seen that, you can already read this. It's really interesting. It's about Leia's life after the last movie, so not the new movie, but after the 3rd movie or the 6th movie, however you want to count them. This takes place there, and so it's really interesting to see how the new Republic is kind of failing and how she's really frustrated, and it all kind of leads up to her joining the rebellion. Like, that's not in the book, but you can see how she was kind of pushed there. They're really interesting characters, all well developed, all amazing, and yeah, it's like things are revealed about Leia. You can probably guess by the cover, and it's so good. It's a really good book, and I definitely recommend it. Also, I had to buy it because you got a poster from this book if you bought something at their stall, so naturally I had to buy it. Also, my brother really wanted that poster as well, but he already had all of the books that were on sale there, so I bought another one just for him. I'm so kind so that he could get my poster, the second one. The Star Wars The Force Awakens by Alan Dean Foster. Haven't read it yet. Normally I don't really read the, like, if a book is written like after a movie, I normally don't read them, but you know, it's probably gonna give a bit more information, and I did love the movie, so I am gonna read this. Then we have another Rick Riordan book. This is The Trials of Apollo, The Hidden Oracle. Also, again, in the Percy Jackson universe, as I think all his books are. Not really sure anymore where this stands in the series, but it's like, oh, he is called Magnus Chase. Oh no, I said Magnus Bane. Magnus Bane is from Shadowhunters. Magnus Chase is from Percy Jackson. Okay, thank you. So yeah, this one is just at the end, so I think it's a new series. And it's pretty shiny hardcover, and it was really cheap. I'm not sure how much it was anymore, but I bought it at Asda or Tesco's or something, and really excited to read it. Then we have Cockhot by Peter Bunsell. A stunning adventure of danger and daring, and I just love the cover. So pretty. So pretty. Don't really know what it's about anymore, but it sounded really interesting, and I can't wait to read it. Also, I'm not saying too much about all of the books because I am planning to make more videos. I'm so sorry I haven't lately. Hopefully I'll be able to do it. Like today I didn't feel too good either, but I'm still sitting here making a video, so I'm gonna try and do it even if I don't feel entirely up to it or entirely wide awake or great or whatever, which is what I've been doing now. Only if I like really have a great day, that's when I make video. So yeah, but I want to make more review videos as well, so when I finish this book I'm gonna make a review video. Same for like a few of these. Let me know, there's still books to come by the way, but let me know if there's a book that you really want to review about, because I'll keep it in mind and make sure I make one once I've read it. Okay, moving on. Always with Love by Giovanna Fletcher, and I have read Billy and Me, and this is the second like the sequel. And I didn't even know there was gonna be a sequel or that the sequel had come out. I just saw it and I was like, oh yeah, another book by Giovanna. And then I saw the little sticker of Billy and Me. I was like, wait, what? It's a part 2? Because I really loved Billy and Me. So naturally I had to buy it, and I read it straight away, and it's really good and I loved it. Another Fletcher. This one is by Carrie Hope Fletcher, and if you don't follow her on YouTube, you really should. She's awesome. Her channel's name is It's Way Past My Bedtime. Giovanna also has a channel, I don't know what it's called, but you can find it if you just go to It's Way Past Her Bedtime. Great videos, amazing. I love her videos, and I read her last book, which is basically just kind of a book about her, but this is her first novel, so naturally I had to buy it and read it straight away, and I loved it. It's called On the Other Side. It's a love story like no other, and it had so much more fantasy in it than I imagined there would be, and I am gonna make an entire separate video about this, so I'm gonna shut up now. But it's good. You should read it. It's good. It's good. Oh, it's so hot in here. Next book, Strange Star by Emma Carroll. The premise of this book sounds really interesting, about Lake Geneva in Switzerland. Probably should have sparked something but didn't. Early one summer morning, a service boy named Felix delivers an invitation. Tonight at the mysterious Villa Diotati there will be ghost stories that promise to freeze the blood. But then this girl comes, a traveler, and she has a story to tell that needs to be listened to, and I just thought that sounded really interesting because I love books about storytellers as well. And I had no idea that this book was actually about like Lord Byron and Mary Shelley and her husband, and like, you know, the famous, if you've heard of it, like that they used to come together and tell each other like stories, or like this. There was this one instance when they came together, Lake Geneva in Switzerland, to tell stories at Lord Byron's house, and that's where Mary got the idea for Frankenstein. And that's why I probably should have realized it was about it, but I didn't. So when I read it, it was a really pleasant surprise, and it's a really interesting, strange book, and I definitely recommend it. Even if you don't know anything about Mary Shelley or whatever, still recommend you read it. Then we have The Mystery of the Jeweled Moth by Catherine Woodvine, and I've read the first book in this series right before we went on holiday. So I haven't read this one yet because there were just too many books. I was like, I need to read it right away, but I do want to read this really soon because the first book, Clockwork Sparrow, was awesome. It was like mystery and set in like olden times, Victorian times, I think. I'm not quite sure when. But anyway, like this is basically one of the first department stores that opened. So it also kind of reminded me of Selfridges, even though I haven't actually seen or read it. But you also have The Paradise, which is an awesome series. Basically kind of like the same concept. The first big store or the first department store opens in like a huge town. In The Paradise is, I think, all fiction because they don't even say which town it is. You're just assuming it's London. But they weren't the first one, so... But it's really good. Just 2 seasons. It's on Netflix, so check it out. Anyway, this book reminded me of that series, so I can't wait to read part 2. One of the most hilarious books I've read recently is Warlock Holmes, A Study in Brimstone by G.S. Denin. It's so weird. It's basically... It all says Sherlock Holmes is a genius, and then you see Sherlock there. But Warlock Holmes is something else. Because basically he's kind of an idiot. Like, he's not really an idiot, but he's definitely not a detective. And he's weird and doesn't understand a lot of things. Because basically he's a warlock, and the things that he do know is magic and like the other world stuff. So he is basically called in as a consultant by Lestrade, who's a vampire, and there's this other detective, I'm not quite sure what he's called anymore, but anyway, he's like an ogre or something, and they always call him in when it's something supernatural, so he is, like, everything is still kind of in place, but I love the fact that Watson was kind of the genius here, who made Sherlock's cover story to make him seem more like a detective. I'm probably gonna do a separate video about this as well. It's brilliant, it's hilarious, especially if you've read like a few of the Sherlock Holmes stories. It's really good. I lied, there's another box set. This is by Patrick Ness. The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer, and Monster of Man, the Chaos Walk-In series. And I have seen these for ages and ages, ever since I was like younger, because I think this was one of his first series. That, or I'm completely fibbing and it's just a series that looked like it. But I think it was this one. Never read it because it was always in Dutch, and back then I just already was starting to read English books. So now I found it in a box set, and it was only £6 for 3 books. So that was pretty nice, and now I can finally read them. Also by Patrick Ness, The Rest of Us Just Live Here, and I saw this book, I think on Goodreads, or someone mentioned it in their video on BookTube, I'm not sure anymore, but immediately I was like, okay, I need to read this. So when I saw it, I think at Waterstones or something, I needed it. Basically it's about, there are these kids, they call them indie kids, and they're basically like the main characters. So they're the ones who have to deal with like monster invasions, or like if the world's coming to the end, they're the Buffy Summers who are gonna fix everything. And those are the indie kids, or like the hipsters, or whatever you want to call them. But the other kids, they just try to live their life, and it's hilarious because it's about the other kids. So it's about the main character, Mikey, who's just a kid who just wants to graduate and has to figure out like his friends and fighting. And it's hilarious because at the beginning of every chapter, it's like chapter 1, the one where, and then you have like this tiny bit that would normally, like all those bits together, normally that would have been the story, but this is just told from like, that's like, oh yeah, that happened as well. And it does come into it, but it's hilarious. and such an interesting concept. And again, maybe I'll do a separate video about this one too, but it's so good and I definitely recommend it. Then we have a Doctor Who book. I don't read a lot of Doctor Who books, but I'm not sure why, because they're pretty good, the ones I have read. This one's amazing. It's The Legends of River Song, Next Stop Everywhere. I'm just gonna check who wrote it, because it's a BBC book and then they never say, but it's, oh, it's different people. These are the contents. I'm not sure if it's in focus, but it's different short stories written, written by different people, and it's basically just kind of like little adventures that River has, that she wrote down in her diary, that she always carries with her. You can see it here, and it's hilarious. Like the Doctor comes into one or two of them, I think, and kind of like, I really love the fact that they had so many more adventures than we saw in the series, because in the series it's kind of like even more sad that she's locked up and they like keep missing each other and basically their timelines are going the wrong ways. But here you can really tell that they spend a lot of time together, and it's hilarious, and River is hilarious, and she's basically the Doctor anyway, so in her own right, you know, like she isn't the Doctor, but she's pretty cool. So there are also a few stories where she just solves things herself, and it's brilliant. And do read it if you're a Doctor Who fan. If you're not a Doctor Who fan, go watch Doctor Who, because you'll be a fan, because it's awesome. Next we have the BFG. I'm not sure if I ever read this as a kid. I have seen like the cartoon version of this a million times when I was a kid, and might have read it in Dutch or something. In Dutch it's called De Grote Vriendelijke Reus instead, so the GVR instead of BFG. But because the movie was coming out, I was like, oh, actually I really want to read it one more time before I see the movie, or read it for the first time, not sure. But I'm really glad I did. It's such a hilarious book, and I love the language. Like the way the BFG talks is hilarious, and I don't think I would have appreciated that as a kid, but I do now. It's so good, and definitely recommend it. I also really loved the movie. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was cute and adorable and full of fantasy, and they changed things, but I kind of get why they changed them, and yeah, I loved it, and definitely recommend reading the book because it's great. Then we have a tiny extract of Girl Online on Tour by Zoe Sugg. I already have this book in hardcover, but this came with the magazine, so, and it was on the pile, so I thought I'd show you. The Girl of Ink and Stars. This is such an unusual book. It's by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. I've just finished it. It's basically about this island, and I'm not quite sure if it's like in the past. I think it's a bit in the past. Yeah, it's in the past, but like if it's also supposed to be a different alternate reality, because they do talk about like America and Africa. Oh, I think it's gonna stop again. One sec. They do talk about America and Africa, but they call it like Africa and America or something. Like they write it really strange. Only Europe is like still the same. Or do they call it Europa? And I just thought it was the same because Europa. I'm not sure. But anyway, so I'm not entirely sure in what kind of universe it's set, but it's basically they live on this island and strange things have been happening, and they're also kind of like, they're not allowed to leave the island, or even they're part of the island, but then this girl gets murdered, and then the daughter of the governor, who makes sure that they can't leave the island and everything, goes missing because she's trying to go after the murderer. So now the main character, what was she called again? Isabella, she finally has a chance to go into the Forgotten Territories. Her dad is a map maker, a cartographer, and she also knows a lot about that, so she goes with them disguised as her brother and trying to find the girl back. I'm saying too much. I should probably make a different video about this, but it's really weird because it's a lot about map making, which is really interesting. It's like on this island all these strange things are happening. There's like magic kind of, and like these creatures, and it's fascinating and completely different from other things I've read, and I do recommend it. Then of course we have Harry Potter and the Cursed Child parts 1 and 2, and I loved reading it. I love reliving the play. so much fun. I've already uploaded 2 videos where I talk about 2 videos for the first part of the story. I still have to make part 2. Basically I kind of like review it, but also talk about how certain things were done in the play, because I actually saw the play in London. So I describe how some of the acting was and how it felt, and like how some of the effects were. So if you're interested in that and you've read it, or you think you're never gonna see the play yourself, because spoilers obviously, go check those out. Yeah, I recently uploaded them on my channel, so please do. I can finally sit again. We're nearing the end. I have Alice in Wonderland, based on the film by Tim Burton, based on screenplay by blah blah. Who wrote it? Doesn't say. But it's basically the book about the movie, and like I said with Star Wars book, I don't normally read these kind of books, like if I've seen the movie, but I love the movie so much. Also bought part 2 because I also really love part 2, so I can't wait to read them, because they're not like the original stories, obviously they're the stories of the movie, and yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to read those. Keeping in theme with this book, Looking Glass Girl by Kathy Cassidy. It's really interesting. It's basically there's a lot of Alice in Wonderland themed things in it, and it's basically about this girl who gets like, it's kind of about her life, and she gets bullied a lot, and there's like all this stuff, but eventually she has an accident, and while she's basically in a coma, she is in Wonderland. So you get snips of that, and then the story kind of tracks back to tell you what happened, and it's really interesting. And I finished it, I think in like 2 hours, maybe less. But it's a really good book, and I do really recommend it. We have The Uncommoners by Jennifer Bell. The Crooked Sixpence. Also not quite sure anymore what this one's about, but I do love the cover. Like, this is kind of like Van Gogh-ish. And then you have this, and just thought it looked really cute, and yeah, just like an adventure fantasy teenage thing, and I love those kind of books, so I can't wait to read this one. Last few! We have How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry. Normally I don't really read romance books, like I've been reading a few more of them more and more, but I never know where to start, like which ones are good and which ones will I like, because it's a genre I haven't read very long yet. But of course, in a bookshop, naturally I had to buy it. And it's so good, it's so cute. It's basically about this man who started a bookshop, and his daughter kind of like grew up in it, and then the dad gets sick, and she goes back to the little town and like reconnects with all these people, and it's like also like separate love stories, like these few characters who all like want to find someone or need to find someone, and it's adorable, it's so cute, and I loved it. And lots of book references, of course, and takes place a lot in a bookshop, so if you love books, like, you can't go wrong here. Then we have Return to Secret Garden, which is why I want to reread Secret Garden first. This is by Holly Webb, and it's basically sort of ish a part 2. Not really, but they kind of just return to that world, because this takes place in 1939. So during the war, some kids have been evacuated, and they go to the manor where Secret Garden took place, and I assume they find the secret garden there and kind of like find out about the original story and everything, and it just sounds really interesting, and again, really pretty cover, so can't wait to read this one either. Then we have kind of a different book, but look how pretty it is. First of all, like, first just appreciate the prettiness. So cute. And it's actually like, I don't know, you can actually like feel it. This was £7. Your Vintage Tea Party Journal by Angel Adori, I think. And has like all these little vintage pictures in them, and recipes in them for vintage, like kind of like Victorian tea party snacks and things that they actually used to eat back then, which is pretty cool. And here you can like write down recipes, and yeah, it's just, oh, it's so cute. Look at that little, can you see it? Look at that little fox. So cute. And yeah, I just thought it was, I liked all the recipes and the fact that you can like set up your own vintage tea parties. Something I really want to do now once I've moved to my new house. I definitely want to do this sometime. And I just thought I couldn't not buy it. So we've arrived at the last book. And this is Summer Days and Summer Nights by all these people here. But it's edited by Stephanie Perkins. And it has like, for instance, Stephanie Perkins, Veronica Roth, Leigh Bardugo, Cassandra Clare, and many more. So I was like, okay, I need to read these because I love short stories, and like these are probably like really fun, light-hearted summer, it says here 12 summer romances, and from a lot of people that I love, and maybe I'll discover a few new authors, and yeah, can't wait to read it. So that was my summer book haul, all the books that I bought on holiday. It's really, really, really bad. I'm not allowed to buy that many books till like December, when I'm gonna buy some Christmas presents. I have to try to not spend too much money till then, which is gonna be hard because I'm actually moving home. I'm gonna move in with my brother, who gets the key 1st of October, so it's really close and really exciting. But yeah, I have to try not to spend too much money, so I'm not allowed to buy new books unless it's one that I've been waiting for like for ages and it comes out and I have to read it. But that will probably just be like maybe 3 books for like the entirety of the year. So I'm gonna try, okay? I'm gonna try. It's never gonna work, but I'm gonna try and save up some money so I can pay for all this. Because my parents kind of like paid it and I have to pay them back. It's gonna be okay. So anyway, do you have a book problem? Let me know in the comments. I can't wait to read so many of these. I'm still kind of like deciding if I'm gonna put them in boxes and wait till I have like my new room and then stall them and then read them, or read them now. I don't know yet. But anyway, yeah, let me know if you want to see reviews of any of these books. And I will see you soon with a new video. Please do give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. You make me really, 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 really happy. So yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye!